Ms. Madeline Klein. We're done 3 of them.
I can't believe we're over halfway done.
Half
It's
halfway done the first the
the
front
first
end.
part. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
But I hear the second part isn't coming out till like the new year, and that's just
Yeah.
gonna kill me.
Yeah, I'm devastated in advance.
So, yeah, I hope they like kind of wrap it up, but I know they're gonna leave us on a cliffhanger
Yeah, I
because
think
why wouldn't they?
exactly. Why wouldn't they? Yeah, I don't. This whole like idea of in TV shows, it's so common now that they'll have this kind of mid-season finale, mid-season break, mid-season premiere after that. I don't know what the point of that is. It drives me nuts. I think we're so spoiled by being able to binge watch so many things that the idea
I
of
think that's what
waiting.
it stems from.
Yeah,
Well,
it's.
even because they used to on Netflix or Disney or whatever, they would release an entire season at once,
Mhm.
which I loved. And
Yeah.
now they don't want people to binge watch stuff as much anymore.
Mm.
So like even that show Only Murders in the Building, I really like. It's weekly episodes. And I'm like, no,
Like
I
weekly
want to
on
watch this.
that get dropped on streaming services one a week. That's
Yes.
yeah. It's
And I'm like, no, drop it all so I can sit there over a
yeah.
weekend.
Don't tease me. Yeah, we're so spoiled.
We are.
But what I'm probably going to do, like this season of this show has completely got me into American Horror Story. During the mid-season break, I will probably go back and watch all of the other seasons.
Oh,
Uh,
please do.
I will, because I got to say, I'm completely blown away. This episode, especially, like I thought episode 3 was firing on all cylinders. It had scary moments. It had, big plot developments, character development.
Yeah.
I was all in this whole 45-ish minutes of TV. This was just one of the
And
shorter episodes.
I know, like they're usually about 40, 45 minutes, and it just like flies by the
Hmm.
whole every time. And every time I'm thinking, like, okay, there's got to be one episode coming up that's like almost like filler, but
Yeah,
no, not yet.
no.
This is all, yeah. Oh,
It's weird though. I read a review online somewhere and I don't know what outlet it was, but it was one of those places that review TV shows and stuff. And they had an article about this season of American Horror Story, and it was like bashing it, being like, there's so many dull moments that this obviously is enough story for an hour and a half long movie, but not enough to carry a season. And I kind of just read a little bit of it, but I completely disagree. Like I didn't feel like there was any filler in
me too.
this episode or the first 3 episodes so far. It's boom, boom,
And
boom.
also, how can they say that so early on?
Yeah.
Because what you may think is filler might be actually really important.
Yeah. I think, though, people just like to write. I think negativity and sex sell. So
Totally.
if it's not like, this raunchy thing, you just got to then go negative
Yeah.
or get
Well, and
political.
also, this one's really easy to make fun of. I'll bet you that author is a Kardashian hater
Which author?
of
Of,
that whatever you wrote
oh, yes.
or read, excuse
Whatever I
me.
read. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Eh,
whatever you wrote.
whatever I wrote. How did you know I was writing
Was it
that?
you? Yeah.
My
Yeah,
like
I'll bet you.
I have another identity where I write negative television show reviews. I just never really admitted it until now.
Well, with all the garbage out there, it sure is easy.
Yeah, seriously. Well, let's get into it. We want to talk about episode 3 of American Horror Story season 12, Delicate. Episode 3 is titled When the Bow Breaks, which I think is a continuation of, was last week Rockabye?
Yeah.
Rockabye Baby
It
on
was either
Vacation.
Rockabye or Rockabye Baby or something like
Mhm.
that. But that's a throughout the three episodes, that's we keep hearing that lullaby from
Mhm.
different people. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and we heard it, I think, a couple times in this. But let's get into it. Let's start with going through kind of a recap of the show, and we'll talk through it as we go. The show starts with, I think, what's pretty obviously is a dreamlike moment where Anna is in a field in slow motion. It's all hazy. She's playing with a baby, like lifting the baby up in the air. Um, as she's doing it, the baby disappears from her hands.
She
And
throws it up and she doesn't come down.
yes,
Yeah.
that's what she's doing, right? She's kind of like tossing the baby up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that it doesn't come down. Uh, and then all of a sudden, the blood almost like comes out of the ground and slowly flows up her white dress.
Yeah.
Is that I'm
And
reading?
it's just kind of weird.
Well, it's clearly some kind of symbolism that went over my head, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Mhm.
Probably mine too. It's just like, oh, that's
Yeah.
and then oh yeah, and then she screams, and then we're kind of back to reality.
We're back to reality with Anna and Dex sitting discussing the entire situation with the stalker, the nurse at the hospital. I think Dex mentions he had been speaking to, I think, a police officer who was interested in pulling the surveillance video from the hospital to try to get a look at the nurse who was or was not there. I'm still
Yeah.
unsure.
Well, I'm pretty sure it was one of the detectives that was already on the stalking case from wherever they were in New York. I think it was Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
So he was talking to one of those detectives, and she kind of was like, "Why did you tell him?" And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "Well, someone's stalking you. Like someone pretended to be a nurse." So,
Might be
and then
relevant to
that's
that case.
exactly. Maybe we should get this on paper in that file.
Yeah. Um, and then, as speaking of character and plot development, the conversation goes from there into Anna saying, like, I think I want to try again. Because, of course, she lost her baby in the last episode. We're right into now, seconds into the episode, discussion of whether or not they're going to try for another baby.
Yeah. And yeah, I think because Dex asked her what she wants to do, and he meant like right that second, and she took it as like, oh well, I want to try again. He's like,
Yeah.
no, I meant like, do you want to go to
Like,
lunch?
yeah, like Greek or Italian. It's
Yeah.
just have another baby. He seems lukewarm, if not cold to the idea. I think his opinion is sort of like, this just happened. Let's just chill and get better. And he's already, at least it seems like he's a little worried about her mental health and her just the state of her. So it kind of makes sense that he's not like, yeah, let's have a baby this evening. Um, Anna then um, explains to him that her belief that someone is trying to prevent her from having a baby, and she's not going to allow that to happen.
That's right. And she keeps referring to them as they.
Mm-hmm.
And as always, and she even says a little bit before that, like, they're not going to find security footage. They didn't at our house in Brooklyn. They're not going to now. You don't believe me. The police don't believe me. Why would anybody start right now?
Mm-hmm.
And they said, yeah. What was it? They are trying or doing something to prevent her from having a baby.
Mm-hmm.
And Dex is like, who is they? And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't know,
Yeah.
but something's happening.
Yeah, and based on what I've seen over the last couple hours of television, I think she's on to something, and I think Dex might be in on it. But regardless, his cold approach or his cold response to should we try again leads to Anna being done with it. She orders him to stop the car. She hops out, takes off into the woods. It seems.
Yeah, she says, I'll find my own way home.
I don't know.
So,
Weird timing, but I've been there before.
oh, totally.
But on both ends of that situation.
And you know what? You just gotta let her go.
Yeah. And if you get out, you just got to run. I guess depends on which situation you're in. Anna took the approach of, I'm going to walk through a kind of a wooded trail. She's walking through the forest after leaving. Dex, we can only assume, just drives home. She's walking through kind of a quiet forest at first. She starts hearing odd things. The ambience of the entire scene, I could tell, like, oh crap, like this was not a good idea. It becomes pretty clear when she she walks into kind of a little clearing where there's a bonfire on the ground.
Yeah, just randomly
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere.
She stops to get a look at the bonfire, I guess, or just see what's going on. And sure enough, you hear the sounds of someone singing "Rockabye Baby." I don't think "Rockabye Baby" started first. That's not what drew her there. I think she began hearing it like when she kind of approached the fire, if my memory serves me.
Yeah, but something definitely led her to that fire.
Mm-hmm. And when she hears "Rockabye Baby," she looks up into kind of the tree line, and sure enough, sitting on a branch of one of the trees is Miss Preacher from prior episodes, looking very freaky up in a tree, and she says, "I've been looking for you."
Oh, see, and this comes about again later in the episode, but Anna has got to stop following noises. if I were her, I'd be going the other way.
Hmm.
Like my life will never be a horror movie because I don't investigate.
Yeah, I'm not that curious, right?
I don't investigate basements. I don't no. Uh-uh. I don't do nothing.
Yeah, well, I think that's good, a good way to live because it doesn't seem to be going well for Anna. And this, this isn't the first time this season, and it's not the last time this episode that she will investigate
I
a
know.
weird noise. Um, from there, when we see Miss Preacher in the tree, says, "I've been looking for you." There's a cut there, and then when the story picks back up or the show picks back up, it's Anna arriving home and Dex is panicked. He comes to her like, "Where have you been? Like we're all looking for you." And in her mind, it's only been, whatever amount of time it takes to walk home with one quick weird stop on the way. But it's Dex who kind of explains to her like, "You've been gone for hours. Like it's dark out now. You've been gone all day. The police are involved. There's search parties. Serious concern for her life." Um, I think she reacts like with like a bit of like, "Oh my god, like yeah, it has been a long time."
Because it was like afternoon when she started walking in the woods. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was dark by the time she got back.
Yeah. So it's been hours. Again, this isn't the first time in this season and not the last time in this episode that missing time is going to become kind of a plot element. Um, Anna explains to Dex where she's been and explains the story of Miss Preacher. I saw that Miss Preacher, the one from, the clinic. She was, I ran into her. Dex and the security guard from the home who we met in the last episode take Anna and they're going to go find Miss Preacher and find where this situation happened with the fire.
I would wait till the next day, but
Or call like the police are
grab a flashlight and go, I
yeah, the
guess.
police are involved in this search. Call them. But
Right?
mhm,
But you know what? Anna, as many of us, does not have a ton of faith in the police.
that's a good point. Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I'm really curious as the season and this gets going and the story unfolds. I'm dying to find out the connection between Miss Preacher and Dex. Are they on the same side? Are they working against each other? I really think Miss Preacher is going to end up being a good character. That's
I think you're right. We're gonna be surprised.
she's a creep, yeah, but we don't know her intention yet. But
Right.
we'll see. So they go looking for Miss Preacher. It's Kamal who's the security guard, Dex and Anna. They go to the spot in the woods where the fire was. They don't even find ashes on the ground. All they find is an owl sitting up in the tree where Anna thought Miss Preacher was.
And it's like a snowy, I don't know if that's like a snowy barn owl, but it's like white, looks like Hedwig.
Mm-hmm.
So the complete opposite of what Miss Preacher would look like in bird form, in my
Hmm.
opinion. And Dex is like, "Are you sure you didn't just see that?"
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that was a quite the contrast. But birds are like owls, especially. They're this mysterious kind of bird or mysterious kind of animal. They seem wise and
they're scary.
yeah, they are a little scary, but they're used in kind of fantasy and
Yeah, they've
television and
always
stuff a
been.
lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really into the show Twin Peaks, and owls are a big part of the symbolism within that show.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've already talked about a lot of story unfolding, but that whole thing we just went through was a cold open because the intro rolls after that. We're like 7 minutes or 6 minutes into the episode.
Something
Generally,
like that.
generally a cold open is just like a scene to set you up. American Horror Story seems to know like that's not what they do. They just seems like randomly they're like, yeah, put the intro there.
Yeah. Whenever it fits.
Yeah, but it worked though because at this point of the episode you're hooked. But I guess they could have done it with Miss Preacher in the tree being like, "I was looking for you." Roll the intro.
True.
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess that's only a couple minutes difference, but when it's only 6 or 7 minutes, that's a big deal.
yeah,
That's a long time.
yeah. So intro rolls, and now we get greeted by the scene of Anna. I say at home, but she's at her friend Talia's place, staying there. Due to the stalker, with Kamal looking after her, the security guard. She's at the home picking at her pimple, the pimple
Oh,
that we've seen slowly form.
Yeah.
I told you I read a negative review of the series or this season. I also read a review. This was just in like a post someone had on Twitter. They were complaining about the show. They were like, like it looks good, the acting's great, but like the makeup really needs work. Like the fact that they couldn't hide her pimple, it's crazy. They could have used CGI to edit the pimple out or put heavier makeup or heavier foundation. Like it's crazy that they're doing this. And I'm thinking like, you idiot, don't realize
Log
that
off.
this is this is you don't realize it's a plot element. Um
uh, no
it,
doubt. Like as if makeup would F up that bad.
or as if no one
And
would
they'd let it
notice.
slide.
Yeah, like oh, like we didn't realize it was on TV. We missed that in post production that she had a massive pimple that our camera was pointed directly at.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like I truly believe whoever posted that gotta be a troll.
They
They have to
must.
purposely being an idiot.
No, yeah, maybe. Anyway, Anna's at home picking at her pimple. She's on the phone looking up stuff about Miss Preacher. It seems like she's trying to learn a bit more. I think she's typing in the various usernames that we saw Miss Preacher use earlier. Dex is asleep by her side, and she gets interrupted by the sounds of rockabye coming
That damn
from
song.
coming from the other side of the home, and she does what Madeline Klein would never do. She gets out of bed. It's the first thing Madeline doesn't like to do, and the
That's
second
correct.
is investigate the creepy song coming from down the hall. What does she find?
She finds some random woman she's never seen before. And when she's like, "Who are you?" finds out that it's the house manager, a woman named Nicolette.
Mhm.
And she was pumping at the time of that, and that's where she was hearing this lullaby. Was actually she wasn't singing it, she was watching a video of her and her baby, and she was listening to it to like lactate, produce lactation or whatever. But yeah, it's just like this lullaby keeps coming up,
Mhm.
and more people keep getting entered into the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
So Nicolette's a little weird. Anna's curious about the baby, so Nicolette shows the video of her kind of like nursing the baby, I guess is what she's doing. She shows it to Anna, seemingly just a couple days after a miscarriage. So that's kind of an intense moment. But I guess the house manager probably wouldn't have realized, the gravity of all that. And
right.
that whole situation kind of gets Anna gets distracted by that because she notices a large gift basket, like a fruit tray, on the table that was a gift from Hamish. That's the name of the guy we met at the Gotham Awards show last week. I think we just referred to him as like the prick director.
That's yeah, we did.
Uh, Hamish sent this gift, I guess, as a like, I don't know if it's sorry about what happened to the baby or if it's a congratulations for the award. I'm not really
I
sure.
paused it. I paused it and read the note.
Okay, what is it?
And it said, I didn't get to say goodbye to you the other night or congrats,
Okay,
Hamish." Yeah.
okay. Uh, Anna is not comforted by the arrival of this fruit tray. And the reason why is because nobody is supposed to know she's even here. And somehow this guy
That's
knows.
right. Yeah. She takes it right into the bedroom
Mhm.
to ask Dex if he knows anything about
To
it.
wake him up. And then one other thing, like we talk about Anna investigating noises a lot. Do you realize how many scenes there are where Anna's doing something and Dex is asleep next to her?
I
I
was
feel
just gonna
like
say that.
he is the best
I would
sleeper.
wake him up so fast, be like, "Hey, do you hear that? Can you go investigate?"
Yeah. What is that, hun? Hun? What is
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
I'd be
Um,
calling Kamal. I would be
yeah.
going to look myself,
Yeah.
but
Dex is a heavy sleeper and she's a very light sleeper. But I guess she's got a lot going on. And
she never sleeps.
I don't
Nothing
think
awakes her. She's just always awake.
she's only asleep when she's like in a dream world, losing time and having
Yeah.
nightmares. Where Dex is like, the world around him is crumbling with all this, but he seems to when his head hits the pillow, he's done. But isn't that not like kind of like a typical guy? Because that's me. I'll tell you, my house could be on fire and I could sleep through it.
Um, just with being pregnant, I used to like my head hit the pillow and I used to be out. Like I was that sleeper. But now I've noticed just from being pregnant, my husband falls asleep within minutes.
Hmm.
And now I kind of lay there. And like when I sleep well, thank God. But yeah, I'll find I'm laying there and I'm just like, what the hell?
Hmm.
Why can't I fall asleep like this
Okay.
anymore?
I don't know if the word is good, but man, I can fall asleep so quick, and when I'm asleep, I'm just like dead to the world.
That's really good, I think.
I think
I
so
would
too.
say that's a good quality. Yeah.
All right. Well, it works for Dex as well. So Anna brings the gift basket down to Dex, questions him on how the hell does Hamish know we're here, and it seems like I didn't completely follow his reasoning, but it's like he told someone who told someone, and it got back to Hamish. Yeah, I don't.
I I'm pretty sure he was just like, yeah, I don't like I have no idea. Maybe Siobhan gave it to him.
Yeah, that's
And
kind
she,
of
and
what.
she said she knows better than
Mm,
that. And Siobhan doesn't like him anyway.
mm.
So Dex is a really good gaslighter, I've found.
Yeah, I think he is.
He dismisses Anna's feelings really quick and
Mm,
makes her out to be completely crazy.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Uh,
and then after that, he's just like, I'm gonna call your bestie. I'm gonna call Siobhan. And he just kind of drops it. Like he's
yeah,
absolutely not concerned that other people are finding them.
yeah, it's true. The only other thing in this scene that we should mention, other than he wanted to go call Siobhan, is the pimple came up again. Dex, this is the first
Yes.
time he notices it. He's in the middle of all this. He's like, oh, what do you got going on there? And she's just
And
like,
it's
oh, got a
like it's
pimple.
been around for so long.
But it's getting worse and worse. And then
But
when she's reacting to it, she has a flashback to the nurse, and the nurse had the
yes.
same looking pimple in the same area.
But is hers like is was the nurse's a pimple or like a birthmark or a beauty mark?
Oh, I assumed it was a pimple, but there was kind of like some weird color stuff going on in the flashback.
Oh,
It was
okay.
hard to tell, but the
But she's got
impression
the same marking, if you
this
will.
she has a mark in the same area.
Hmm.
I guess further investigation will be required to figure out exactly what's causing the mark on the nurse's face.
Yeah.
But yes, as you say, Dex offers to call Siobhan, walks out of the room to do it, and next thing you know, there's kind of like a weird sort of cut where like I think it's like Anna's phone is ringing and she sees that it's Siobhan calling, but then she
Well, and
sort of
that's like a second after he walks out of the room. He
yeah.
says, I'm going to call Siobhan, and then her phone rings, and it's Siobhan.
And I think before she can even really answer it, Siobhan walks into the room.
Yes.
And
And she's just like dumbfounded.
yeah, it's like, what the hell are you doing here? Like we just called you. And she's like, that was this morning. And I called you like this afternoon, and now I'm here hours later.
And yeah, and then she looks at the time and then she looks on the bed and the gift basket because if I recall, there was as for edible things, there was only two singular red apples.
Mm,
And then there was like a bottle of wine and like body lotion and stuff, but yeah, it was just and I found it was kind of weird how when Dex was still in the room, he was like, "Oh, like a gift basket." And like encourages her to eat the strange fruit that just showed up. He was like, "Here,
have
have
an
it.
apple.
Have an apple."
Um,
So,
Truly
yeah,
the creepiest fruit because of Adam
right?
and Eve, eh? Just like that. Just bite the
Well, and
apple, hun.
I can't decide what this damn apple represents. Does it represent temptation like it does in the Bible story? I don't think so. Or is it like a Snow White kind of thing? Like it's
Mm,
probably poisoned.
yeah, I'm gonna go with the latter option there, but
Right.
you're right. She wakes up, the fruit basket, or at least the apples, are just crushed. They're just to cores.
The core, yeah.
Um, the Anna and Siobhan still have a little visit together. They talk mainly about miscarriages. Siobhan's been there before, so they talk, and I think Siobhan is able to sort of do what Dex has never even tried to do, which is just hear her out, talk to her, be a shoulder to cry on, so to speak, and that seems to
Well,
get Anna through that
she
moment.
tries to relate. She's like, I'm going crazy. I think something's happening to me. Anna finally, like, I'm sure she's realized it, but this is the first time she's verbally said, like, I'm losing time.
Mhm.
And it's very strange and whatever, I feel crazy. And Siobhan's like, yeah, like, oh, and Anna says, did you, after your miscarriage, have like this pooch? Like your body didn't get the message the baby's not there?
Mm.
And then, yeah, and Siobhan gives her this little monologue on hormones and how it just kind of turns your life upside down.
Mhm. And then all of a
And yeah,
sudden, you're not pregnant anymore, and it takes your body some time to readjust. And I think, and that's what leads to Siobhan being like, "You just got to get up and get moving. Let's go for a walk."
yeah.
And they go for the fateful walk on the beach.
Oh
And
God.
this is a trip.
And I think a pivotal scene in the show.
Certainly.
I think it's going to be very important.
Uh, as they're walking on the beach, Siobhan, I don't know if this is a good idea. Siobhan explains to her, like, we got to get you in shape. We got to get you, snap out of this because next week you're going to be on the cover of Vogue magazine. We got to get you looking beautiful, days after your miscarriage, despite all this craziness that's going on in your mental health crisis, your self admitted crisis. You're going to be on Vogue. Um,
Well, and she starts by, what word am I looking for? She's like reassuring her that, like, I felt crazy after my miscarriage too, blah, blah, blah. But then on the beach, she's like, your husband's not having an affair. There is no secret satanic plot of people trying to make you lose a baby. And she says, you have one more week of moping before we get you back in the chair. So
mm,
she pretty much said, like, your feelings are valid, but you only got a little bit more time to be feeling sorry for yourself. And we got to get this show on the road.
mm, yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the last of the moment with Siobhan here. She eventually gets a call that she has to take. And I think she just walks off, leaving Anna alone on the beach.
She says it's Anna Wintour, who's like a fashion designer.
Oh, really?
She's like, I got to take this and then I got to jet. So yeah, she just kind of like abruptly ends the visit.
Yeah. See ya.
She's like, bye. Bye now.
It's funny. There's so many references to like other celebrities and stuff that go right over my head. You get a lot of them, but last week we were talking about the Gotham Awards and Is That Real? Sure enough, like the day after we did our recording, I was in my car driving and just some random thing is on the radio. It's like it was a CBC interview with some person. We're like, coming up next, we're going to be speaking with Gotham Award winning director, and I'm like,
No
oh no,
way.
yes.
Oh,
Did
I
I
thought
think
you
I
Googled
wrote
it.
no, and I wrote you right away, being like, damn it, we're
You were like, yeah,
idiots.
they're real, but I thought you maybe like Googled Gotham
No,
Awards or something.
I
Oh,
learned
that's
about
so
it.
cool.
Learned about it in the wild. Felt like a complete
Amazing.
idiot too. Like
What timing?
yeah. So, with Siobhan off the beach, Anna alone on the beach, uh, all hell starts breaking out. Anna, as she walks, she sees a little something sticking out of the sand. She bends over and picks it up, and of course, what comes back but those creepy dolls of hers from, I guess, earlier in her career. They made a sort of Barbie doll based on one of her characters. She pulls one of them out of the sand, and it has a bunch of nails stuck in its belly. So I'm guessing sort of like a voodoo doll kind of thing.
Yeah.
She picks that up and obviously is very concerned, and I think she starts to put it like up her shirt to hide it.
She hides it, yeah, in her shirt or her sweater or something like that, and then says, "Okay, Kamal, we gotta go." So she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to tell anyone about it.
Yeah, just this. Yeah, I'm gonna deal with this. And as she walks off, we're introduced to two new characters visually. It's two kind of figures all in black who have almost like, it looks, before we record it we tried to decide what these are, but they look like bunny ears, but in my mind they were black bunny ears kind of made out of like crow feathers or something, is how I saw it.
And I thought they kind of looked like black angel wings,
Hmm.
but
Okay.
I'll bet you're right because crows are a little bit more ominous
Mm-hmm.
than angels of death. But
Yeah, and I don't know what the symbolism is. We've seen many black figures. These appeared quite different than prior people dressed in black that we saw. This seemed
and
much more supernatural or something.
when we see them full body, you assume they're women because they've got like their robes that they have on are almost like old like you'd see in Salem in the
Hmm.
witch trials. They're
Hmm.
like old dresses almost, and they both got a goat on a leash,
Mm.
a black goat on a leash. So, and they're just standing
with
there.
it. Very, very creepy stuff.
Ugh.
Um, that's when the scene ends. We get home. When we pick up the story, we see Anna returning home and immediately grabbing a bottle of wine. And I think at this point, she needs it. I think what she wants to do is go down into the basement of Talia's house, perhaps to be alone, and investigate the doll. I'm getting like my impression of why she's going down there with wine.
Well, and I didn't really understand why she would go to the basement either, but we find out after she comes back up. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here. She trips over the same doll when she's talking with Dex, and she said, I took that downstairs to hide it. How did it get up
Oh,
here? So
that's
that's why she went to the basement. I was like, oh,
okay.
that makes sense.
Okay, yeah.
Because I would
So
not be going to the basement if I
yeah,
were her. But
so she decides to go down to the basement when she gets home with a bottle of wine, but with the plan to just probably stick the doll in, something and just hide it out of sight so she can, not explain to Dex what the hell is going on with this freaky doll. But her visit to the basement, much like her walk through the woods or walk on the beach, gets pretty weird.
how does she not get scared? Is my question.
I think she's so out of it. She's like got shell shock.
Maybe.
And
Because yeah, like even like the basement at my dad's house, I still skip steps when I run up those stairs. And it's not even a creepy basement.
oh man,
Yeah.
I'm braver than you. No, I don't
Oh,
know. I've been
many people are.
I've been freaked out in some weird basements, but this one I thought was for the most part, at least on the surface, it was a pretty pedestrian basement. She just goes downstairs, a bunch of crap in boxes. She sits down and she starts going through Talia's baby stuff. Talia has had a kid, so there's all the baby stuff is kind of like in bins or whatever in the basement.
I think it's from when Talia was a baby. Because Talia doesn't have kids.
Yes, you're right. Yes, it would be.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was thinking it was like Talia had a baby like years ago, but yeah,
Well,
that
that's what
stuff was
I
old.
thought too. But I watched it twice. And then
Mhm.
the second time she opens a photo album and it's like Talia's first birthday or something like that. So it's all
Okay,
things from when Talia was a baby.
weird, stored in her
Yeah.
basement. Okay, so she's going through stuff from when Talia was a baby, and there's a little crib near her. I wonder if it was Talia's crib. If so, that's kind of weird, but maybe. Um, and I think it's a kind of like the mobile thing starts to come on, sort of, and it starts playing Rockabye Baby.
Ugh. And yeah, she just like sits there and looks at it and continues. I would have been up those stairs so
Well,
fast.
more than continues, she kind of ends up laying down and falling asleep on the floor.
Yeah, she polishes off that bottle of wine and just kind of lays down.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
ugh.
Uh, she lays down, but not for long. Her sleep, it seems to be that her sleep is interrupted and she wakes up. But in some state, conscious or not, she wakes up and she hears what I guess you'd describe it as like whisper chanting. It's almost like a chant, but it's
Well, first it was a laugh. Originally, you hear a woman like kind of giggling, and then it goes into the whisper chanting.
mm.
And
And
and then she sees the door, the dreaded tiny door.
yeah, she sees kind of in the corner of the basement a small door that looks like it would be. It almost looks like opening to like ventilation or something. Like it's not like a door that you would typically imagine a human opening and walking into.
No, and
It's
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 like
more. It's
it's
almost
a
like
fairly old basement.
I'd almost call it like an access panel.
Yes, yeah, because it's this door is like in like the wall, the bottom half of the wall is all old stone. Like
Hmm.
it's yeah, almost yeah, access panel or to like a teeny tiny little crawl space or something.
Anna realizes the whisper chanting and probably that laugh is coming out of this. So she opens the door and she starts walking down a tunnel that looks like an Egyptian pyramid or something. It's every so often down this kind of long, almost looking like it's carved in stone pathway or tunnel. There's kind of like candles on the wall that are faintly lighting up the space.
Well, and
The
it she has to crawl in at first, and then it reminded me of like Willy Wonka.
Mhm.
She had to crawl in, and then the tunnel eventually got bigger where she could stand up and
Yeah,
continue to walk.
And as she continues to walk, which she does bravely, that whisper chanting gets louder and louder and louder until she walks into an open space, a larger open space, or at least begins to approach it. When she gets in there, it is very freaky. It looks like a laboratory from like, the 1700s or something. It's a bunch of candles and a bunch of glass jars on shelves that have it seems to be either fetuses or babies or pieces of babies floating in liquid throughout all these jars.
Yeah. Just various organs and parts and yeah, so, like you said, sometimes full fetuses and
Yeah, and she continues on throughout this little open space in this kind of laboratory storage area, and you see there's another room that looks a bit bigger, quite a bit darker, and it has I don't know, I guess an examination chair that you would imagine from the hospital that has like kind of like the foot strap
very,
kind of thing.
very old fashioned though.
Yeah,
this thing is not modern.
If you went to a gynecologist in the year 1805, no,
Yes.
maybe the year like 1890, this would be the chair. And
Yeah.
you see that, Anna starts to see it, and then we meet again the two figures in black with the sort of crow bunny ear type things. They grab her, drag her into that room, and tie her into the chair.
Oh, this is after she sees like there's a Latin verse written on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only at that point she gets freaked out and tries to run out, and then
That's
the
right.
whatever they are grab her and put her in the chair.
They put her in the chair, and as they kind of tie her up, she's of course resisting, and one of them take out a needle, put it in her, and I guess that's like some kind of sedative or something. She's sedated after that.
I think they chloroformed her first. They put a cloth over her mouth, and then she fell asleep.
Okay.
And then they like, yeah, put her feet in the buckles and then gave her the injection.
Mm-hmm. And as they do that,
questionably sterile needle.
Yeah. And as they do that, much like we saw the Latin verse on the wall just prior to this, they're kind of chanting this sort of Latin satanic prayer is what it seems. They're saying like Satan, a bunch of random stuff over and over again, leading us to believe that it is a satanic cult of some sort.
Gotta be. Well, and because then just like for a split second, you see from the point of view of Anna and the face of one of these, or the head of one of these figures, she sees a goat's head, like over top of her. So, yeah.
In this, yeah, the goat symbolic, it has a symbolic connection to Satanism and to Baphomet, the kind of the icon of Satanism. Interesting stuff. This scene ends. Anna wakes up on the floor or comes to or whatever you want to say. And we don't know if it was a dream or if this was, she was just laid back on the floor when they were done with her. She gets up, she runs upstairs, bangs on the door, finally gets released from the basement. And from there, I think she runs into Dex. Is it?
We're glossing over, I think, a very important part.
Oh.
So she's laying on the basement floor where she fell asleep.
Mm-hmm.
But and I thought like she was wearing like a nightgown, but I guess it's two pieces because the one piece was like up, so her stomach was exposed, and then you can see something move in her stomach, and that's what wakes her up.
Okay, I completely missed that.
Yeah, you can see something just move a little bit in her abdomen.
What are you watching? Are you watching it on your TV?
Yeah.
Okay, I watched last night's episode. I watched on my laptop, and I wonder if that was the reason I missed that one scene. And just one other thing before we get on the story, I find there's this new way with television shows. I find them often really dark. I don't know if I'm getting old and my eyes suck, but I find shows are often very dark, overly so. Does this ever bother you?
No.
Okay.
No, if I watch them on my laptop, I turn the brightness all the way up, and yeah, we must just have a good TV. I mean, it's 10 years old.
Well,
but...
I think it's probably my eyes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Honestly. Anyway, so this I missed that. So you believe that something moved in her belly, woke her up. She runs upstairs, That makes sense because when she finds Dex, she tells Dex, I felt the baby move. I think I'm still pregnant.
Yeah.
Um, Dex, does he react with maybe a little bit more gaslighting?
Oh yeah, his go-to, the king of gaslighting.
And this is where Dex finds the doll as well, which makes her only look crazier.
Right. Yeah, because I think she trips on it or something as they're walking.
Yeah, it's just randomly there. And Dex finds the doll, and she explains, I found it, on the beach or whatever. And he's like, what the fuck? Like, what are you
Because and he
doing?
she said, "What is it doing up here?" I took it downstairs to hide it,
Hmm.
and she clearly didn't bring it back up
Yeah.
that
He
she remembers.
he's gaslighting again, or legitimately thinks she's nuts. And she's like, no, like you asked Siobhan, like this doll has been basically following me around.
Right,
Uh,
because the other one was in her office.
yeah, right. So someone else did see the doll. And I think that's kind of important because there's a few things that seem like they're in Anna's head, but there are other people that have seen them. And with the doll, it's Siobhan. Siobhan introduces the doll into this show.
That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
Anna calls the doctor, Dr. Hill. She wants to talk to him about the feelings of that she has that she may have a baby still within her belly. She immediately thinks she's pregnant after this, like believes she's still pregnant and that the miscarriage was misdiagnosed. That's what she's asking Dr. Hill. Like, is there a possibility that it was a misdiagnosis and I'm still pregnant? He says it's impossible. Like we've done the tests, we've done blood work or whatever.
there was
There's
no
no there's
heartbeat.
no heartbeat. We checked for heartbeat. There's nothing. But it's not uncommon for after losing a baby in that position, the way you did, to have nightmares or to feel things. And I think he reassures her or tries to reassure her, like, no, you're not pregnant. Like, but what you're feeling is normal.
Yeah. Oh yeah, like the phantom kicks and just all that. And well, and it's I found it weird because she asks him at the end. She says, "Just one more thing. Is it normal for me to have wild, vivid dreams?" And he kind of cuts her off. And he goes, "Yep, that's totally normal. Like what you went through was a trauma. So you
Mhm.
have to give yourself time." But I just found it odd that he would like cut her off mid-sentence and be like, "Yep, that's normal.
Hmm.
You're good. You're fine."
Hmm. But maybe it's because he
So
heard it a million times. Because maybe it is normal.
maybe. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh man, I know during pregnancy, wild, vivid dreams are a real thing.
Okay.
So yeah.
Um, After she gets off the phone with Dr. Hill, feeling a little bit better, uh, the housekeeper, it's I can't Nicolette,
The
uh,
house manager.
house manager. She's nearby and she realizes that Anna's bleeding from the mouth. She's like, what's going on? You get hurt or
Her
something?
gums were bleeding.
And bleeding pretty well. Like she had quite a bit of blood in
Yeah.
there. That sends Anna into another kind of panic. She runs into the bathroom. She takes a look. Sure enough, your gums are bleeding. She does what I would have done. She opens up her phone and she kind of Googles it, like bleeding gums pregnancy, and she finds out that bleeding gums are a symptom of pregnancy, or is it that they're a symptom
It's
of?
true. It's bleeding gums are a symptom of like I think early pregnancy. But even in like my book that I my app, the app is the same name as the book called What to Expect.
Mhm,
But early on in my pregnancy, it was like, yeah, you might experience like your gums bleeding, and it's just like a hormonal thing.
mhm. So
So
for Anna, when she sees that, when she reads that, she has a big smile. She's just like relief. I don't know if
yes.
it's a relief that like I'm not dying from this weird blood thing, or if it's like, yes, I am still pregnant. Like
Well, and I
I'm not
think just
nuts.
because she's got so many doubts about the people around her as is, she doesn't trust anyone,
Mhm.
rightfully so. So between feeling the child like really vividly and then having these bleeding gums, she's like, "Oh yeah, something's up and I'm pregnant." So,
From there, Anna wants to confirm her suspicions or her belief that she's pregnant. She goes to a drugstore, and the reason for her going, we learn, is she's looking for a Doppler, which is like a heartbeat monitor that you can use to sense the baby's heartbeat within you. But she doesn't get a chance to really ask for it or look for it just yet. She gets kind of caught up at the drugstore looking at baby stuff. baby clothes and soothers, and she's kind of just standing there looking at it and daydreaming, I guess is what she's doing.
Well, in true American Horror Story delicate fashion, when she gets there, it's bright out. You can see behind her, it's daytime.
Mm-hmm.
And then she picks up like a little cute hooded towel, and then she smells it. And then it's like, and then the kind of the lights start flickering, and then she kind of comes to again, and then she looks, and you can see that it's dark outside. And then she sees the two, whatever they are, the the all black,
The bunny crow head
the bunny
freaks.
crow head, perfect.
Mm-hmm.
And they walk by with their little old time lanterns at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the and at the end of the aisle.
They just kind of like pass by, so it's not like they're chasing her or anything. They just kind of pass by the end of the aisle.
Yeah.
She sees them, and as she's reacting to that, the pharmacist, I guess, comes by and she's like, "Just so you know, we're closing. Like, you got just a couple minutes. You gotta get your stuff and get out of here."
And it kind of like snaps her back into reality.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Oh, and I think oh," and then she says, "Yeah, like oh," and she goes, "Did you see those two women?" And the clerk or pharmacist says, like, "What women? We're the only ones in here. Like, we're about to close up." And that's when she looks and it's dark out.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't know how long she's been in that aisle, but quite a long time.
Odd that someone didn't approach her earlier, though. Like, that lady's been here for 4 hours looking at that
Like
skirt,
standing in the same spot.
and her eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens. Anna, before leaving, she asks the pharmacist after this little exchange, like, "I'm looking for a Doppler. You got anything like that?" They don't have one. It sounds like they just sold the last one. So yeah, we can order you one in, but she's like, no, it's like it's all right. And then the pharmacist asks to touch her baby because obviously she's pregnant if she's looking for a Doppler. I don't know what led to this, but it ends with the pharmacist being like, "I'm touching your belly."
Well, because she was looking at baby stuff.
Yeah. So,
And she's like, "Oh, I know what it's like when you got to run out and get stuff for the kids or blah, blah, blah." Oh, yeah. And then she asks for the Doppler. And then she's like, "How far along are you?" She said, "I don't know." And then whatever. So, yeah, I don't have one. That's fine. And then she turns around to leave and she goes, "I have to ask." And I think Anna thought that she was going to say, like, "I
are
love
you,
your work," or
yeah, are you Anna?
like
Alka?
recognized her. But yeah, and then she turns around and she's like, "I have yeah," and she kind of asks and just kind of does at the same time. She's like, "Can I feel?" So then she touches her belly, and she also felt the baby kick. And she also, I found, she knew it was a boy. She said, "Oh, he's a kicker." And then she said, "Oh, I felt him again." So she like automatically assumed it was a boy. I don't know if that means anything,
Well, in the
but
last episode, that was a bit of a thing. What led to Anna asking? Remember, she wanted to know the gender of the
yes.
baby.
And it was indeed a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
yeah, the whoever was there knew right away and just kind of felt her
Interesting.
without permission.
Yeah. But not just felt like, "Oh, he's kicking. He's kicking again." Like it was a big kind of reaction.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is like a medical person telling her that. So in Anna's mind, oh yeah, she's absolutely pregnant.
Yeah. Well, and it's someone because she felt the baby move, but then a complete stranger also did too. So I
Mm.
think that just like really reassured her that like I'm not crazy and there's something swimming around inside me.
Then from there, Anna's getting in the vehicle with Kamal without a Doppler. I think he's driving her back to Talia's place, back home, so to speak.
It's what we can assume.
Yeah, it's nighttime, and as they're driving, Anna sees Sonia, who's Dex's kind of like art partner or something. I don't entirely understand the relationship, but Sonia's on the side of the street, now dressed all in black, looking a little like the visions and figures that we've been seeing.
Well, and I think she was wearing the green spiky shoes.
Was she? Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure I saw her wearing those.
Yeah. Anna asks Kamal to stop the vehicle. Kamal does so. Anna gets out, and as she's approaching Sonia from one direction, Dex is coming from the other direction. and approaches Sonya. So Anna hangs back to watch Dex and Sonya kind of just go down like an alley, it seems.
Well, it seems like he takes her by the hand
Mm-hmm.
and like is like, yeah, whatever, you'll love it or something like that. But prior in the episode, when Anna and Siobhan are on the beach, and Anna's like, oh yeah, like I think Dex is having an affair, and Siobhan goes, with who? And she says Sonya. So she assumes something's up with him or with her and Dex to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, when Sonya calls, Dex will drop anything. Like, remember in the middle of the pregnancy test, Sonya
oh,
called
that's
and
right.
had to talk to
Yeah.
her. So, yeah, I
Ugh.
wouldn't be cool with it. So that happens. Anna walks back to the car to get in the car. To get back, gets back in the car, and before they get a chance to drive or to start the car, up from again we see this from inside. The camera is like inside the car, kind of looking at Anna, looking out the window, and then from outside pops up Miss Preacher, banging on the window, and telling Anna to watch out for her, is her exact
Yeah.
words. She does that, and then she runs off. So pops up,
Because
watch out for
Kamal
her.
gets out of the car with a gun.
Oh yeah, he's ready to take her out.
Yeah.
Well, he's
But
security.
yeah, she just vanished out of nowhere.
Yeah, but again, we talk about earlier. We were talking about how there's some of these things that it's not just Anna seeing, like the doll. Now we have Miss
Yeah.
Preacher. Multiple people have seen and addressed her being real. So a lot of this stuff is real. So Kamal, she takes off. Kamal doesn't get a chance to get her. They continue home, and this is kind of the final episode or final kind of sequence of the episode. Is Anna is she's convinced she's pregnant. Obviously, something's happening. Someone is either after her or watching her, and they have access to her schedule, as we learned in the last episode. Anna opens up her calendar and makes a new calendar or a new item in her calendar simply called "What do you want from me?"
Well, and first she changes the password again.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think
right.
that's to reassure her, I just changed the password, so no one should have access to this but me. And then so she changes the password, and then makes a new schedules something new.
A new item in the schedule. Yeah, it's just simply "What do you want?" is what she
Yeah.
what the schedule was after changing her password. That's right. So yeah, she does that in the car. She gets home to Talia's place, and as she's like walking in, I think that's when her phone buzzes, and she looks, and the notification is like, a change to your calendar.
Oh,
When she gets home, the meeting that she had scheduled, named "What do you want?" is changed to "I want to warn you." Anna then adds a new calendar item that says, what it was changed to is "I want to warn you, they did something to your baby." Anna adds a new item that says, "Did they kill my baby?" The calendar then updates again, saying, "Your baby isn't dead."
but it doesn't end right there. We have a few more seconds. Anna goes outside, and I think she's almost relieved.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like she doesn't look scared or anything, but she goes and sits outside, sees a dead, I don't know, raccoon
That's what
or
I thought
something.
it was.
And yeah, it's got like maggots all over it, and it's like super gross. And then you can see a woman watching her from inside the glass house. And then the very, very last scene, you find out it's Nicolette, just like kind of leering at her, and she looks just creepy. Now we have to wait another week.
Yeah, and then the credits roll.
Yeah.
So a lot happens in this episode. As far as the major plot points, we see Anna and Dex maybe disagreeing about should they try again. I think we're convinced now Anna is in fact pregnant. Whoever this kind of force is that's accessing her calendar seems to be on her side. I want to warn you. Whether it's Miss Preacher or not, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a feeling it might be. I think you're right. And Miss Preacher is actually not as evil as we think she is.
And as a hacker.
Somehow, she's very tech savvy.
But she also, like, when we saw her in the clinic in the first episode, she didn't seem like the type that would be like on Reddit and on Instagram, has a
No,
website, but she does. So she is, for whatever reason, she's into computer stuff.
the
So
boomers surprise us
yeah,
sometimes.
don't judge a book by its cover. The
I
crazy lady.
guess.
Yeah. But overall, this episode, I think other than driving the story and just being a great piece of television, it was scary. There was several moments where I was like, ooh.
It was very suspenseful.
Mm,
When she was crawling through that tunnel, I was just like, stop, no, get
mm.
Kamal to do it.
Yeah, that was good. And I've said this, I think, every time we've recorded so far, but the show is beautiful from start to finish. Whoever
Yeah,
does the set design and the lighting and all that stuff, it's just brilliant. Almost every scene, you could take a still image and print it and put it on your wall as this moody, evocative photo.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a visual feast, as most of Ryan Murphy's work is. But yeah, no, it's beautifully done for sure.
We didn't get a lot of Siobhan in this episode, but we still got to do our Kim Kardashian watch along. How did you feel about her performance in this episode?
Oh, as always, impressed. Yeah,
Mm,
she only got a few minutes camera time, but yeah, I have this feeling she's in on it with Dex somehow, or
mhm.
I've and so we know this season is loosely based on the book Delicate Condition. Have you read or seen Rosemary's Baby? Is there a
I've
satanic element to
Oh
that?
yeah, oh yeah. Rose.
There
Okay,
is.
I what I was gonna say is with the book Delicate Condition, I'm avoiding at all costs because I don't know how tightly connected it is or how closely this is
Right.
following the plot of it. So I was worried about spoilers. But as I'm watching this, I think Rosemary's Baby over and over again. I've seen
Okay.
Rosemary's Baby several times, and
Okay.
this definitely seems like, like, I don't think if Rosemary's Baby wasn't created back in the 70s, I don't think this would exist.
You're probably right.
Mhm.
Well, and yeah, so clearly something satanic is going on within her and her womb.
Mhm.
And
And there's something special about the baby
yeah,
that connects to the, whatever kind of religious supernaturally stuff. There's definitely like a cover up cult kind of thing happening.
well, and I
Um,
think Dr. Hill, is in on this satanic plot.
Absolutely, no
Yeah, there's
question.
no question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he said, that there was the absence of the heartbeat, and with the amount of blood you lost, there's no way we can misdiagnose
Mhm.
this miscarriage.
Mhm.
But there's something in there.
But why would they want, like, what would they have to gain by convincing her she had a miscarriage and continuing to, like that? I'm just kind of curious what their
That's the
motivation.
Satanist business.
Yeah, I guess how could we understand what these Satanists are doing?
Yeah, it's well, and I just from the opening like theme, the title, there's and you've pointed it out, there's like a baby with like claws.
Mm.
And yeah, so something
So,
satanic's going on with the kid, and I'm just so curious
yeah, like, are they?
as to what's gonna happen.
Yeah, me too. It's there's still a lot of TV ahead of us. So did you say there's two more episodes before the mid-season break?
That's correct. Yeah. I think there's usually 10 in a season, and they're splitting this one into two. So we'll get five out of the first part.
Okay, so that'll bring us almost to Halloween. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's, oh man, I'm excited. I can't wait to see where this goes. The I brought up Kim Kardashian because I like to track her performance because I kind of expected her to stand out as like not a trained actress or actor because this cast is the cast is so incredible. I feel like the performances from every person on screen is great, and the fact that Kim Kardashian can like hang and not
Yep.
stand out, man, that's saying something, I think.
I agree. Yeah, I every episode she has like a little monologue or a little speech that I'm just like super impressed with.
Mhm. And
She
it
what did
and
she say this time? She's explaining about the hormones. She's like, you're pumped with hormones, before you're pregnant, and then you get pregnant, and then she said, and then you miscarry, and you get all the hormones from postpartum, but you don't get the fucking baby.
Yeah,
I thought it was kind of funny the way she worded it.
yeah, it was good, but she just, if you were watching this and you didn't know who any of the actors or actresses were and you said one of these people aren't an actress and is just like a random celebrity that a lot of people either love or hate. You wouldn't like it wouldn't be obvious
I don't think
who it
so.
is. No.
No.
Hmm.
So, and I was discussing American Horror Story with my brother yesterday. He hasn't started watching it yet, but he did read Delicate Condition
Oh.
in preparation. And he asked, "Who does Kim Kardashian play?" And I said, "Siobhan Corbin." And he goes, "Okay," because when I read the book, that's who I assumed would be playing Kim. Or excuse me, Siobhan. Because yeah, so Siobhan is in the book as well.
Hmm.
So I don't know how closely it ties in, but they use the same character names at least.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. When this is all done, I guess depending on how it works out, but I may be interested to read the book or the audiobook or something. I'm just
I
kind of
just
like,
want to see how close it is.
yeah, I'm always curious to
Yeah.
see how they're able to adapt a book because it would be so difficult to adapt to. Like a book has so much theater of the mind because it's all playing out in your head. So these crazy scenes, like you can visualize them, but to actually put that on screen is a whole different story. And that's why, like,
Yeah.
I love Stephen King, but so much of his stuff can't translate to video or movie or television or whatever. Just doesn't work. Where in a book, it's so brilliant.
And
This
they always say the book's always better than the movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
sometimes that I think that is because of the amount of time though. Like a book is yay big, but then if you want to make it an hour and a half long movie, you got to trim so much down. But with American Horror Story
That's
Delicate,
true.
they got instead of an hour and a half long movie, they got like 13 hours to tell that story.
Right.
So like I think a television series like this is a better way to adapt a book than to try to jam it in an hour and a half.
Totally. Yeah. I think it might be more detailed that
Yeah.
way,
And some of the
doing it
best,
in the
yeah,
series.
and just considering with Stephen King, some of the best Stephen King adaptions weren't movies. They were either like a series or super long movies, like the movie It. It's a very long movie.
The original one?
Yeah, and the remake.
Oh.
The remake or whatever is actually two separate movies that are both like two and a bit
Oh,
hours long. But the
yeah. I've
original
only seen the
movie,
first one.
yeah, I think that was like 2.5 hours, very long. But I think my favorite Stephen King adaptation was a television series called The Stand, and it was like 6 hour long episodes, and it like
Oh,
was really good. But anyway, long way to say, I'm sure the book is still better, but American Horror Story Delicate is, I think, going to be a good telling of that book.
oh,
But
totally.
I guess we'll see where it goes next week.
I can't wait.
I'll meet you here, and we'll talk about it.
I was going to say same time, same place, but
Maybe
same place
not.
for sure. I
Same
don't know,
place,
same
definitely.
time.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. But same place. All right, Madeline.
Sounds good to me.
We'll talk soon, and I look forward to it.
Perfect.
Bye bye.
Me too. Bye, guys.